I'm here at the Petersen today to talk about one thing and one thing only, and that is wedge cars. Come with me. Okay, so if you're anything like me, when you hear the idea of a wedge car, you're probably thinking of something like maybe a Lamborghini Countach or a Lamborghini Murcielago, maybe a Lamborghini Diablo. And come to think of it, I'm really only thinking of Lamborghinis here, but the thing is, there's so much more than just the Italian supercar Lambo. You have everything from 1970s microcars that were EVs, really focused on neighborhood transportation, to also 1970s rally cars like the Lancia HF Stratos. Point is, there's so many options here, and as always, something that the Petersen does beautifully is curate just one hell of an exhibit that gets everything done that you could want to on the theme. So please do me a favor and join me as we go inside the Petersen for the wedge exhibit. Let's do it. All right, so first and foremost, we got to go to where it started, and that is this here 1966 Canara 1, or Canara I. I'm pretty sure it's 1, it's just the Roman numeral. It was built by a Florida teenager named Ray Canara between 1964 and 1966, and it was literally the one that kind of started this entire trend back in the day. What's really interesting about it is it has a station wagon body underneath it and a Chevy V8 in the front of it, making this kind of like an original LS swap kind of vibe. Let's go to the next one. Okay, and we walked a full 2 feet away from the previous one. That's the Canara that's still right next to me here. But this one should be very important to you if you're a fan of electric vehicles. It's also a mouthful, so let's get this right. It is the 1966/77 AMC Concept Electron. I got there. And it's worth highlighting because this had a first of its kind regenerative braking system, which is just gonna help you, you know, keep that battery alive a little bit longer. It's also incredibly tiny. I mean, just look how wide this entire car is. I mean, you can see it looks like 3 headrests back to back there. It's very short, but very wide. Anyways, I'm gonna walk to the next one. Come join me. Okay, so if you're even kind of a fan of racing, then you should 100% know what this next one is. And that's because it's a Lancia Stratos HF. This was one of 492 that were made, both including the road cars and the racing versions. 492 that were made for racing homologation and nothing else at all. I think what's really cool about it is this is a mid-engine 1.6 liter V4 making 190 horsepower in this little rally frame. It's just a cool car. I love it. A lot of power relative to what it is, so pretty gnarly. Come on. Oh yeah, and that Countach I was talking about earlier, it's right there, no big deal. All right, not to overdo that other Lancia over there, but this is yet another Stratos HF, except this is specifically the Zero concept car that was made in 1970. It's got another 1.6 liter V4, also in the back. It sits at only 33 inches at its highest, which you can see that compared to me, 6'2", and this is how high it is up on me. Really, really low down car, but what's really interesting about it is there's no doors on it, as you can probably see on that side. It looks the exact same way over here. The way you enter is you see this little mirror right there? Well, that's on top of the windshield, and the windshield actually goes up. And when I first read that, I was a little bit confused because I was thinking this thing was gonna be a lot taller. I was really worried that I was gonna have to step on a car to get in. But the thing is there's actually, in the front here, it looks like a little rubberized front grille. So I'm assuming they were anticipating some people maybe stepping on into it. Either way, I don't want to step on my car. And you already know I think this one's perfect, and that's simply because of the fact that it's a Corvette. This is the 1968 Aerovette, and you can see it's essentially just a C3 that they stretch the back out a little bit so that they could put the engine in the rear of it to make it a true mid-engine platform. I think it's pretty cool. It originally had a rotary Wankel engine in it, but clearly it doesn't now. Either way, I think it's pretty gnarly, but the thing I really want to show you is actually back here. So I'm just going to teleport over there real quick. Oh, that hurts. All right. So this is the Aston Martin Bulldog. This was actually aimed to be the first car that was ever gonna break the 200-mile-an-hour mark. They fell short and only reached 191 miles an hour. But what's interesting about it is not only does it kind of look like the DeLorean, which you can actually see right there, but another thing I find interesting about it is the fact that it actually has 5 headlights in the front of it, and they're all hidden behind this little center panel here. That means that this is one massive contiguous pop-up headlight that's kind of in the center there. It probably looks a little bit funky, you decide. Okay, and the last one I want to talk about is not this 1972 Minnesimo, which is cool in its own right, mainly considering the fact that it was made with a lot of thought for the disabled driver. It's one massive door in the back that you could easily get a wheelchair inside of. Very considerate, very cool. But I want to talk about this right here, and that is the 1977 Urbacar. This could very easily be one of the rarest cars that I've ever seen, that you've ever seen. This was a kit car that was made in reaction to the 1973 oil crisis. It was super easy to assemble, was kind of the idea behind it. Much more of like a neighborhood electric putt-putt around, but there were only 20 of these original kits that were sold. Okay, yeah, to be fair, the plans were sold to a handful of other people for $15, but as far as we know, there was only ever 20 of these, and I think that's pretty cool.
So there it is, my sneak peek at the Petersen's Wedge Revolution, cars on the cutting edge.
Like their exhibit on the cars of the 80s and 90s, I went in without any knowledge of the cars, but came out with a new appreciation for them, because that's just what the Petersen does to you. There are plenty of others I didn't show you, so maybe just stop by next time you're in the area. You won't regret it.